Hello and welcome to this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here, whether you are joining via listening to this as a podcast episode or whether you are watching it as a video on YouTube. Thank you for taking time to be here. Today, I want to talk about something that's been coming up a lot in my conversations with other female practitioners, and something that I have been experiencing quite a lot and have experienced a lot over the years. And that is that feeling of stuckness, that feeling when our experience is that nothing is working. Things are just not working, and it leads to those feelings of stuckness, frustration, or feeling like you are hitting the same wall over and over again. So if you're feeling like this, or if you've ever felt like this, which I'm guessing is 100% of human population, then this episode is for you. And I want to start with an important truth. And I think it has to be named and it has to be acknowledged again and again. And that is that if you feel stuck or if nothing seems to be working, it's not because you're broken or something is wrong with you. It also doesn't mean that you are not trying hard enough. In fact, for majority of us, the opposite is truth. How you are and what you are experiencing makes perfect sense. And once you take time to be with your experience and to really untangle and understand what's going on for you, a realization comes that your experience makes perfect sense and that you make perfect sense within your experience. So often within our training certification, the trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women, we talk about this understanding within the somatic experience, embodied experience, and there is this realization of no wonder I'm feeling like this. No wonder I'm feeling stuck. No wonder it feels like nothing is working. No wonder I'm not able to do what I said I would do or what I want to do. No wonder. And usually when we have this deeper understanding of what's really going on for us, there is also this shift, physical embodied shift within the wholeness of our being that usually comes with a sense of relief. This, no wonder I'm feeling like this. Now I understand what's going on. The other thing that I really want to say here before we move any further is that with those feelings of stuckness, there are other feelings that might come up. The stories that we create about our experience, how the inner parts can step in, those more judgmental, critical parts that can step in, creating the stories or telling the stories about how we are not good enough, how we should be ashamed that we are not able to do what we said we would do or we want to do, how there is something wrong with us. And those feelings of shame can really feed into our experience, making it really unbearable making it really like we are struggling and suffering, creating that suffering. Emotional suffering, it could be physical suffering because there is no separation between the body and mind. Anybody who's lived with chronic condition for a longer time will tell you how much it impacts their mental health. And anybody who's lived with mental health challenges will tell you about how much it impacts their physical experience, their well-being, physical well-being. And so this is really important that we acknowledge the wholeness of that experience. That feeling of stuckness is not just the stuckness, mental stuckness, not just how it presents itself in our behavior and the choices that we make, but really it's the wholeness of our experience. Within our training, I teach a coaching model called the Soma Psyche Soul coaching model or coaching method. And when we understand the wholeness of our experience through the systems thinking perspective, how our experience, the soma, the psyche, and the soul, all of it lives within the wholeness of life, our environment, our life, the universe, the source, the life itself, then we can really understand what's going on for us. On a somatic level, this feeling of stuckness certainly can be felt through the nervous system state. So the nervous system state either going into hyperactivation, the fight or flight, the pushing, the striving, trying to force, trying to make something happen. Certainly the hustle mentality that we see within our Western societies fits into it really nicely. But we cannot sustain that level of work. It's much easier to sustain that level of work when you are younger. When you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s, you can keep pushing. Not indefinitely, but certainly you've got more energy, usually more energy to push through. As you get older, for me as a woman in my early 50s, in the early autumn of my life, or second spring, the price that I pay if I keep pushing when I'm feeling stuck is much greater. And so understanding what's going on within our bodies is really important. This sense of stuckness, how it manifests either through hyper alertness or fight or flight, or going into freeze or shut down. There is a protection mechanism within our body. So often people talk about self-sabotage, and we talk about self-sabotage when we don't really understand what's going on underneath that. Saying that it's self-sabotage means that I'm doing something to myself that is very negative. And I'd like to flip that for us to actually say that when we understand the nervous system, when we understand the parts and how different parts, protector parts show up in our lives, we then start understanding that there's something else going on underneath that behavior, underneath that experience. And we start noticing that actually those different parts step in trying to protect us from something. So there might be something that happened to us that those protector parts think, I never want this to happen to us again. So I'm going to step in. I'm going to protect you from it happening to you again. And we can go into the freeze response or shutdown response, where the story that comes with it is the story of hopelessness, of helplessness, of feeling alone, of feeling unsupported, of feeling unimportant, of feeling unacknowledged. And what it results in is that we disconnect from our inner resources, and we disconnect from the resources around us. Hence the freeze. We are unable to reach out to ask for help. We are unable to express how we are feeling because of that state, nervous system and physiological state of hopelessness and helplessness, and a lot of shame. If we add shame into it, and the story that we should know what to do with it because we've done this work, we understand it, we've come this far. You might be a coach or wellness practitioner or therapist, having that story and feeling like, I should know what to do with this. What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? There is something wrong with me because I should know this. This is the stuff that I teach to others. I hold space for others to process this, and I can't do it for myself. So how can I then go out and support others if I don't know how to do it for myself? Can you see how it spirals in? It spirals in. And we go deeper into that experience of being so alone within that. So alone. And so on a somatic level and a psyche level, this is what's happening. We feel disconnected. We don't have access to the resources. We feel unsafe. We might feel a lot of fear. We might feel a lot of anxiousness. There might be the stories and the meaning that we create about who we are within this experience. And then on the soul level, we disconnect. We lose our faith. We lose our sense of trust. We disconnect from the flow. We disconnect from inspiration. We disconnect from potential. We disconnect from what's really most important for us. We disconnect from our purpose, our soul purpose in this life. And when it comes to the behavior, it shows how it shows for us, whether we withdraw, whether we avoid, whether we don't do what we planned to do. Even talking about this experience, I can really feel how my stomach is flip-flopping right now. The tightness that is coming into my shoulders and the back of my neck and my jaw. Oh, such a familiar feeling, such a familiar feeling. I've been there many times. And the women that I talk to, the practitioners, wonderful practitioners with so much training, so much potential, so much experience, lived experience, work experience, so much heart and soul. These are the kind of practitioners, female practitioners, that I see struggle the most, because we put our heart and soul into our work, into how we support others, into how we connect with others, into the impact that we make within the world, within our communities. And this is especially true for those of us who are more sensitive, more empathic. Maybe you are neurodivergent, or you come from the background that's been quite a lot of struggle. Your nervous system and your physiology is then more sensitive to whatever is going on in the world, whatever is going on within your work. When we are more sensitive, I find it's much easier for us to get stuck because we are trying to do things in the right way, because we care so much, because we really want to make those changes. And if something doesn't feel right, we are much more sensitive then to react by going into fight or flight or freeze or shut down. We shift from this state of thriving, the state of being in the flow, the state of feeling safe within our body, having access to inner resources. I'm safe, grounded. I can express myself in an authentic way, how I am, through my essence. I can be kind and compassionate to myself as well as compassionate to others. I feel connected to my own inner wisdom or my own inner guidance and intuition. I'm connecting and trusting in the flow of life, the source of life. I'm free to make the choices and decisions. I'm open to what's coming to me. The inspiration is all around me. The clients are all around me. The state of thriving, the state of flow. And when we get stuck, we go into the state of survival. There isn't enough clients. People won't pay those prices. I can't do this. I don't have support. I'm completely on my own. There is nobody I can ask. I am alone in all of this. I'm doing all the right things. Why is it not working? There is something wrong with me because those women over there are doing really well. I'm seeing them. They're talking about earning millions, and I am struggling here making 2 or 3K a month. I'm not signing anybody. I'm really struggling. Maybe I am not work hard for this. Maybe I should go and get a job. Maybe it was all just a stupid dream. I can't cope with this. I can't do this. I'm so alone. Hopeless, helpless. Can you see there is a huge difference between the state of thriving and the state of surviving? The state of thriving, there is plenty, there is abundance, there is flow. I'm connected, I'm supported, I'm kind, I'm authentic, I'm stable and grounded. I know what I'm doing, I trust the process. And there's survival, there isn't enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I can't do this. I'm so alone. Oh, those two states are very different. Each one comes with their own story. Each one comes with a set of behaviors. The way that we react and respond from each of those states is very different to very simple things. It impacts our relationships and then it impacts our health and well-being. And so we could approach it from trying to change how we think, top-down approach, do the affirmations, say things to ourselves, trying to be kind and positive and supportive. Or we could really acknowledge that sometimes it's almost impossible to do that. And we could come through the bottom up approach through the body, starting with reconnecting with the sense of safety here within our own body, shifting from the state of survival to the state of thriving, to this more regulated, more grounded, more stable, more connected, more present, more compassionate and kinder state in this moment, in the present moment within ourselves. And so often, and I've done it so many times, and I've seen so many wonderful practitioners doing the same, trying to make decisions and be resourceful or inspired from a very unresourced and uninspired, ungrounded, unstable, unsafe state and space. I want you to take a moment right now and actually turn your attention more inward. You can do it with your eyes open or your eyes closed. If you're out for a walk as you are listening to this, you can choose to sit down and close your eyes, or you can just continue walking. You might be driving. Don't close your eyes if you're driving, of course. Do it in a way and from wherever you are, however it works for you in this moment. Turn inward and just notice how you are. What we want to do is to tune in to just notice the kind of state that you are in and also really name it, because that's the step number one to changing how you are. So often when we are in that state of stuckness, we are so in this doing mode, trying to change it and react to it, that we don't actually take the time to pause and check in and really understand what is going on for us. So take a moment now and just notice, are you more towards this state of thriving? And that state of thriving is the state when you feel grounded and stable and present. You feel connected within yourself, within your inner wisdom, your intuition, the flow of life, the source of life, nature. You feel kind and compassionate to yourself. You feel like you can express yourself in an authentic way in your relationships and in your work. You feel really free to make decisions that feel most aligned. You're open to inspiration, to synchronicities, to coincidences, opportunities, life. Or are you more in that state right now of that constriction and closing, maybe numbing, maybe withdrawing, whether it is this hyper alertness and hustle and trying to change things through action, or whether it is being in a freeze response or even complete shutdown, overwhelm, struggle, pushing, collapsing. Take a moment and gently, with kindness, allow yourself to name the state that you are in. Without judgment, knowing that there is nothing wrong with you, knowing that we all as humans go through those different states. We might shift in between different states in the space of one day, many times. Might be triggered, go into freeze, then self-regulate. Something else might happen. We might have an argument that we might, reset and regulate again. Sometimes, and we know that through understanding how the nervous system and physiology work, sometimes we get stuck in that state. Or you might be stuck primarily with focus on one thing, like around your business, whereas still things are okay in personal life, in relationships, which is something that I've experienced recently a lot. And yet there is no separation between work and your personal life. Your work sits within your life. And so the impact is within every aspect of our life and our being. And so allow yourself compassionately name it. When you name it, what state? Is it more survival state or is it more thriving state? Then we can do something with it. Then we've got choices. If we try to just fix it, do something with it, keep reacting, keep pushing through, hoping, begging, raging, that's not a resourceful state to come from. And so this can really show up in so many different ways. So I recently was speaking with a female practitioner who was saying that she's been completely in that free state, unable to get new clients, just unable to do that. Everything else seemed to be working all right, but she was not able to get new clients. And once we started to unpick it, we then realized that there was something about this disconnection between what she was told that she should charge money, how she should charge money, how much she should charge money, and how much she was comfortable with charging. And for this practitioner, and this is not the only practitioner I heard it from, and I've experienced it myself as well, being around other women who are talking about having 5K months, 10K months, 20K months, 100K months, was actually feeling too much. For that practitioner, it threw that practitioner into the state of freeze and overwhelm and avoidance, procrastination. It felt unsafe. There were all sorts of different stories about I never be like this. There is something wrong with me because I'm not doing this. And I can't imagine myself doing this. And this is just too much. And so the reaction was going into freeze within her business and not able to move forward at all. And so really understanding that this is what's happening, then we unpicked it and then we can do something with it. Okay, let's let go of all of this, what you should be doing, how other people are doing it, what's going on for them. And let's come back to you and how you would want your business to be. What is the price that would be right for you to charge? What have you charged before? What can we start from and build on that? Within our society, there is this myth of constant growth. Bigger, louder, better, more money, more impact, more clients, more prestige, being seen as successful. And for many of us, when we compare ourselves with others, and certainly that's something that I've experienced so much, it really is just triggering. It triggers our sense of self, our sense of unworthiness, our sense of unsafety. Going into survival mode, feeling unsafe. And when we feel unsafe, we disconnect from our inner resources, we disconnect from outer resources. There is a lot of shame, guilt, and that sense of stuckness and being alone. And so this story is not uncommon. I've heard different versions of it. It's so easy to get stuck when we compare ourselves to others, when we do not see the full picture. And forget about what this thriving state really means for us. So rather than comparing ourselves from somebody who's has this big business with lots of moving parts and teams and business expenses, and knowing deep within our soul that this is not something that we want, and yet losing the sight of it, losing the sight of our soul's purpose, what's most important for us, what's our definition of success, what is it that we are craving the most, wanting the most, valuing and honoring the most. So this feeling of stuckness, it's not a simple thing. There's lots of different things that come into it. There is lots of different things that can be entangled. And the only way that we can do something about it, really do something about it, changing, is to first pause, turn inward, and really understand what's going on for us. Name it for what it is. Name those different feelings and emotions. Name the state that you are in. And then the next step is always coming back to the sense of safety, coming back to this more resourced state, coming back to the thriving state internally. And that might take a while for us to do, especially if this is not familiar, or if we spent quite a lot of time recently in this state of stuckness, in this state of survival. That's the first thing that we need to do. Come back to the nervous system regulation, physiological regulation state, sense of feeling grounded and stable and safe. Through the nervous system regulating practices, through meditations, through embodying the qualities, and really spending embodied time, embodied state, feeling calm, feeling present, feeling grounded, feeling stable, feeling kind, feeling compassionate, feeling connected, supported, and feeling our authentic self. And then bringing more of that authentic self. This is what's not working. This is how I want to be. Moving from this safe state into potential, into your best expression of yourself, being more you, your authentic self. More of that, more of that. But it's very hard to be that, more of you, more authentic self you, if you are feeling unsafe, if you are in a survival mode. From this space, when we name what's happening, when we then shift into more regulated, more resourced state, when then we can move into being more authentically me, and we are in the thriving mode again. We are in a resourced state. We have inspiration, we have ideas, the magic happens. We can be more ourselves. You can be more you. So there is a certain order of things that needs to happen. The more we understand how the nervous system and physiology work, the more we can really utilize it on a daily basis. And when we work with clients, this is something that we want to teach them. We want to help them to really bring together the somatic experience, the soma, the psyche, understanding the story, understanding the parts and how they protect us, understand the stories we tell ourselves, and then moving into the soul expression, connecting with life, being supported by life, being guided by life, having trust and having faith. So if when you connected with yourself, when I ask you to connect with yourself, if it felt that you were more moving towards this survival mode, or you've been in that survival mode, I would really want to encourage you to start with inner resourcing, start with spending time in a place of safety, spending time doing the practices and things that help you feel more grounded, more stable, more resourced, through being kind to yourself and compassionate to yourself, through feeling connected with life and your body's wisdom, your inner wisdom, really allocating time on a daily basis to do that. And what I found, this is a little pro tip, what I found is that so many of us, and including me, I used to do those practices first thing in the morning. But then as the day progressed, things would happen and I would lose this touch with my resource center being grounded and stable and safe. And I would get disconnected from it and start being in this more survival mode. And then in the evening, I would check in with myself as I was in bed, going into sleep and thinking, oh my God, yes, I'm really exhausted, and do some practices to regulate. So since I started acknowledging that, I give myself time during the day to regulate, to come back into the more resourceful state, to really pace myself, to really keep checking in with myself, noticing how I'm feeling, what's going on for me, what do I need in that moment, and how can I look after myself in that moment. And when we do that on a regular basis, on a daily basis in this way, there is a cumulative effect that happens. And we notice so much quicker what's going on for us, and we can respond to it so much quicker. So I hope this episode was helpful to you. Remember that if you're feeling stuck, there is nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing wrong with you. And what we can do is to reframe how we look at that stuckness. Rather than having the story that there is something wrong with me, I'm not cut out for it, I never make it, nothing will ever change, into really understanding that, oh, okay, I got lost again in a survival mode. I shifted into survival state. Let me now acknowledge it for what it is, which is the invitation to be kinder to myself, invitation to really pay attention to what's going on for me, an invitation to reconnect again, reconnect with myself, reconnect with the source or life, and reconnect with my soul's purpose. There is something that is happening that made me feel disconnected. Let me reconnect and let me shift into this more resourced and thriving state so I can express myself and my soul's purpose more fully. A sacred invitation, almost like an initiation each time as we do it, to live a richer, more connected life for ourselves and for everybody that comes in contact with us. I'd love to hear how this material landed for you. Let me know. And if you want to learn more about this approach, this is exactly what we are doing in Trauma Informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women training certification. Because there is a difference between knowing it and actually being it and embodying it. As a human being, as a woman, as a practitioner, we can show up from that space, we can live from that space. And ultimately, life is here to help us experience it more fully, with more ease, with more grace, with more joy, with more love. So take care of yourself for now, and I look forward to seeing you in the future episodes.